Ever since the dawn of time, the supreme ruler of sort of serious simulation racing on the consoles has been Gran Turismo, until last year when the fifth game sort of stumbled a little bit.
It sucked.
Meanwhile, the Forza Motorsport series, the Usurper, has gone from strength to strength pretty much, and the fourth game has landed now. I played it, you played it. I think we both agree it's really, really good.
Yeah.
But having said that, let's get into the details of why it's really, really good.
Well, the thing about the previous game, Forza 3, was that at the point of release, I considered it pretty much the best full package racing game to date. It had everything. It wasn't necessarily the best in every detail, but it had everything and did most of it better than most everyone else. And the same thing can be said about Forza 4. It's even better. The quality of everything in the complete package has just been heightened, and that in itself is really impressive.
Usually I'm more into the sort of arcade type racers. I don't have a steering wheel or anything at home.
Nope.
Yeah. What really impressed me about Forza 4 at first is how accessible the game really is.
That was one of the parts I also loved about the previous game, and notoriously it had the option that you could actually play it by just pushing one button. And the new game has that as well, but the way you can customize your experience, the way you can set it up to almost go from complete arcade racer to something at least resembling a good simulation is just almost insane. I mean, I was experimenting with the previous game to really find the options that suited me, and I've been doing it with the new game, and because of the improved physics and everything, I actually had to turn on and turn off some of the options that differed from the previous game, and that just really impressed me. But if you go about it doing it that way, setting up the game that way, you really will find an amazing driving experience.
So I guess we have to get into the career part of Forza 4 and what's called the World Tour, which is pretty much the meat and potatoes of the game. As I gather, they've done something slightly different here, basically allowing you to use the same car throughout your career, more or less.
Yeah, one of the things that I've always loved about the series and the sort of option that most every game of this sort should implement is that the game actually customizes itself and its challenges to the car you have chosen, meaning that you can go into your favorite car, the car you want to drive, and the game will actually offer challenges that suits that car. So you can pretty much race the same car throughout the whole game. There are a couple of places where you will have to change the car, but they are really minimal. Also, while the way you go about the World Tour is actually pre-planned, you will get 3 different challenges every time you enter a level, and that means that you can actually drive 3 different kinds of races on the same track, which is just a really clever option, I think.
There's also something called car clubs.
Yes.
Sort of like the clan functionality of Forza.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's really simple actually. You can just hook up with a couple of friends and you can actually share cars. Of course, there is some value in just showing off your coolest cars to your friends, but they cannot also race the cars. So you can actually share cars in like you would in any clan. And the way they've set it up, like most everything else in the game, is just it's so easy to get into. I mean, of course there are the small things in the game where it actually tells you about it, but it isn't more than a few clicks away with the controller.
About a year ago, maybe a little more than a year, EA introduced auto log to the Need for Speed series that basically compared your lap times to your friends and said, hey, you have a chance of beating this guy, go do it. Forza sort of borrow
Copies?
at least copies of that
Copies?
idea with
Yeah.
something called Rivals.
Yeah, and I don't mind because I mean I loved it in the EA games, and they did as well, since it has pretty much been in every game they've done since then. And it is a really cool idea because it's like when we used to go to the arcades and you saw your friends actually take your high score, you're constantly reminded that someone said, for instance, a better lap on the Top Gear track, and you want to go in and just, of course, pulverize them. And again, a few clicks away, you're racing, and there are tons of different challenges in the rival mode, which makes for really, really diverse races.
We should also mention the sort of Top Gear integration and the Top Gear Rivals events, that a bunch of races invented by the Top Gear crew, including, of course, the star and recently priced car where you get to drive a Kia Ceed around the Top Gear test track. But also, I think my favorite event so far has been one with the Ferrari F40 on, I can't remember what track, but the F40 owns.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I also just love it's such a small idea, but there's this one challenge where you go down a mountain and you actually have to overtake a car while in traffic. And I mean, it's really, really intense because the traffic is really tight and the road in itself is really tight, and you have to go at extremely high speeds. And it's just a small variation of the key gameplay, but it really works.
So I guess we have to sum up now. The king is dead, long live the new king Forza.
Oh,
is
yes.
that pretty much
yeah,
it?
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. For my money, this is absolutely, no question about it, the best complete racing package to date. I mean, we haven't even gone into the Auto Vista mode, but Auto Vista lets you just
sort of virtual showroom for
virtual showroom, and I mean, in Auto Vista, the console is focused on showing only this car, so all its power is put into it.
Actually, that part is probably the closest thing we've ever had to photorealistic graphics in a game.
They are by far the best car models in any game ever, and with narration by Jeremy Clarkson, of course, it just makes the whole feeling even better.
It's always puzzled us at Top Gear how Pagani makes its cars so good. Yes, they put in the effort by inventing a new cocktail of carbon fibre and titanium called carbotanium. And they managed to persuade Merck's power-crazed AMG division to build them special V12 engines. But that's not enough on its own. What Pagani really understand is that a supercar should be loud and dramatic and fast enough to make your eyeballs turn to putty.
And that leads to my main point. Playing Forza 4, for me at least, feels like being a part of a really good episode of Top Gear. It's just full of car love. You feel so welcomed by the game, and it just wants to show you all its facets, and wants you to really enjoy driving a car, and does everything in its power to just give you this experience. And I mean, I'm kind of in love with it, actually.
So, just summing up, whether you're racing fanatic or racing noob, Forza is a game to get.